first couple of minutes. Yeah, here we go. All right. Apparently we are live. I'll just check that on my end as well. I think, yeah, I think we are actually going live. Yes.
Yay!
Okay. Welcome everyone. This is only my second or third stream, so bear with us, everyone, if you're joining us. But Ash, you're someone that we connected on TikTok of all places. I don't know how it started actually. Did you maybe see some of my videos with the detective or something?
I did. I can't remember what the videos were, but I remember you showing up on my For You page, and yeah, just loving the work that you're putting out there. So I'm sure I must have commented or shared your video or reached out to you or something, and we started chatting, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and of course you've got an incredible skill set. Yeah, like remote viewing and psychic ability. But do you want to explain that? Like, how did that all come about? And did you know from an early age that you had these gifts? And what was the first realization when you sort of realized that, oh wow, I've actually got some, clairvoyant skills here?
Yeah, so I actually didn't, like, my whole life, I actually thought there was something wrong with me. Like, when I was a child, I was very different from other children, and I was taken to psychiatrist after psychiatrist, where they all, labeled me with having all sorts wrong with me. And then when I got into my teenage years, I started messing with like witchcraft and things that I shouldn't have been messing with that I knew nothing about. I started messing with the Ouija board. And that sent me down a very dark path. I attracted a lot of dark spirits my way through that. And then I kind of went through a period of about 15 years where I was really badly spiritually attacked throughout all that time as well. And I thought, again, I just thought there was something wrong with me. I didn't know that I had psychic abilities. I always knew I was an empath, but you don't really think what goes through your mind is different from what goes through other people's minds, because no one really talks about what goes through your mind. So I just thought the things that happened were everybody experienced these things and it was normal. And it wasn't until I did start doing readings and things like that. But again, I didn't know that I had these abilities. But it wasn't until really 5 years ago, I basically died and was brought back. I didn't have any like out of body experience or nothing like that of the sorts at all. What happened was when I came back round, I could just see and feel spirits everywhere really strongly, a lot stronger than I'd had some experiences before that, but this was just whole next level. And it was really overwhelming. And then I came home from the hospital and myself and my husband were sitting on the bed and I was just like hysterically crying in a terrible way. And I was just saying, how am I going to get through this? And then the next thing, this big, massive white light just appeared in front of me and my husband. And thankfully, my husband seen it too, because otherwise I think I would have just thought I was going crazy again. And he didn't believe in any spiritual or afterlife or anything like that up until that moment either, and we both seen it in the room. It was huge, and something just kind of told me to close my eyes, and I just felt, I now know obviously it was an angel that came, and I just felt these like angel wings just like enveloping me and going right round me. And I heard my grand's voice who'd passed away saying everything's going to be okay. And then I just felt this rush of love going through my whole body. And it was really strong and really powerful. And then for weeks, days afterwards, I was just pulsating all this energy. And I was like, what is happening to me? Like, I didn't know what was happening. And I was very overwhelmed. I couldn't leave the house for so long because I was seeing all these energies on people. And it was just really, really quite kind of frightening, to be honest. And I was led to just the most amazing woman. Something told me, I kept getting this message through to contact this man who had taught like a self-development workshop in my work 7 years prior. Didn't know this man, didn't know anything about him, and it kept coming through, and I was like, why would I message him? And then
Mhm.
I was led to his website. I messaged him and it was like, tell him everything that's happened to you. And I told him everything that happened to me. And he came back and he said, that was really brave. He went, I know exactly why you've messaged me. My wife helps people like you, and our name's Katie Speed. And I was led to her, and she helped me just control it and
Mm.
develop it and bring it out a lot more.
Mm.
And that's how the whole thing started. There was never anything wrong with me. I did always have abilities. I just didn't know. And this is the thing. We all have abilities of some sorts. You know, if it's like
Mm.
any other skill that's out there, if you practice it and you work at it, then you can, you know, anybody could do what I do. It just came very like abruptly
Mm.
for me at all, but it was obviously meant to be as well. That's how I see it now. It was definitely meant to be. And my life just
Mm.
completely transformed after that as well. I left my job. I now do
Mm.
this. Like, this is what I do on
Mm.
a full-time basis. I do like,
Mm.
so a big part of what I do is like I do past life regression sessions.
Mm.
I'll do like exorcism work and things like that as well. That's a massive part of what I do as well. So yeah, never in a million years, if you told me like 6 years ago that this would be what I would do now, I'd be like, yeah, no chance. But
Mm.
here we are.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So, do you think it was from that moment where the light came down that was like the final kind of trigger, like the catalyst to move you into this new person? I guess, you know, new personality, new skill set.
Definitely, that was the catalyst, because I just,
Mm.
if that, it had to happen the way that it happened as well, because
Mm.
you know the logical mind kicks in as well, and that's what I would have kept doing, because I did have a lot of
Yeah.
experiences before that. I always remember when my grandpa passed away,
Mm.
around, maybe I think this was about 8, 9 years ago, and I was sleeping and my mum was at the hospital with my grandpa, and I had this really vivid dream. And my grandpa came to me in the dream and he said to me, like, this is it, this is my time, I need to go now. And I could see my gran waiting for him, because she'd also passed away, and they walked away together hand in
Mm.
hand. And then I just woke up and I was like so upset, and I checked the clock and it was 6:22 a.m. And my mum came in a few hours later and I said to her, like, she said, your granddad's passed away. And I said, what time? And she was like, what? I went, what time did he pass away? And she went, 6:22 a.m. And I was like, whoa.
Mm.
So there,
Oh
you
my
know, there had
gosh.
been things coming up, like there had been a
Mm.
lot of things happen throughout my life, but I just kept dismissing them. And so it had to be something severe like that to really just push me down this path.
Push you
And
into over the edge. Yeah, over the
yeah,
threshold kind of thing to get you into it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, think when you need to
Mm.
reach rock bottom as well. A lot of the time when you're at rock
Yeah.
bottom, the only way to go is up as well. So I hit
Yeah.
rock bottom during that time. And even looking back now and all the issues I'd experienced with the not nice spirits, you know, I
Mm.
can see how much they were kind of affecting all areas of my life now as well, without me even realizing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. That's actually when you said that, that kind of really hit home for me, is that every now and then in my life anyway, I've hit rock bottom, and it's like there's no, you can't go anywhere other than up from there. And I also heard a quote today, it's like the moon has to completely empty before it can become full again. And it's that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like the worst thing in the world. It's a real dark night of the soul. But I think on a larger level, what's happening is that you're being called to level up. You
Mhm.
know, you're being called to, you know, really try and transform, like go up a few levels. And if
Mhm.
we don't do it consciously and we keep moving, then it's almost like the
Yeah.
heartache comes in, the brokenheartedness, the tragedy comes in to
Mhm.
really like impact us to the point where we then, it shatters our heart for us to go deeper into it and then bring out the new gifts that we've been
Mhm.
like leaving there inside.
Yeah.
And I think that's happened to you. And it happened to me well, 2 or 3 times in my life, I would say. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I did the first time, I definitely did go up several levels after it as well. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that next time I go into like a real dark hole, that this is
Mm.
probably, this is maybe a blessing in disguise, just the way
Mm.
that you look at it, right? The perspective
Yeah.
you look at it.
Yeah, perspective is
Mm.
everything as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, your perspective is
Yeah.
everything things. But yeah, I completely
Mm,
agree with you. It's all the trauma and everything that we go through, and when you go through these really dark periods, because we are so used to suppressing our traumas and blocking them out, and when we do that, it turns into like a dark energy within as well. So when you have
yeah.
something like major happen to you, it's bringing up all of the kind of stored darkness within and all the trauma within, and then you're releasing
Mm,
that. So then in turn, you're carrying more light. So then you're up leveling when you're doing that. So that is how I see it. You
mm,
know, I don't even like the word awakening, but remembering, it's really a
mm,
journey of remembering. I think remembering who we
yeah.
truly are. And there's so
Mm,
many levels to that. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. It doesn't just, you're not just like
mm,
awakened and that's it, right? There's just so many layers to
yeah.
it as well. We keep growing and
Yeah.
evolving and shifting as time goes on. So
Mm.
it's not a journey for the faint-hearted anyway.
No,
It's
it's
like,
not. No, I know. Be careful what you wish for as well. Like, be careful if you set the intention for something, because if you, the universe will go, okay, if you want that, you know, you're going to go through the school of hard knocks if you really want that. And then you might go,
that's
shit, I never wanted that. I didn't want it like that, you know. And it's like too late.
yeah,
You kind of set the
yeah.
intention for that.
No,
So,
sometimes you think
yeah.
it's like life seemed simpler before you awaken to, you know, everything and everything that goes on in the
Mm,
world, because it's not
mm,
easy to be awake in this world, knowing everything that goes on, and it's definitely not, you know, it's definitely hard,
yeah.
and it can be so hard not to get lost in the darkness of the world as well,
Mm,
right? Because it's so
yeah.
dark. Like the deeper you dive, it's just, I mean, you know this, it's like,
Yeah, I know. I know. I think
but
that there's a correlation between the people that have gone deep within themselves and gone into the dark aspects of their psyche, and those that are able to see the darkness in the world. Do you know what I
mhm,
mean? Like your Kim Kardashian's type of level of consciousness isn't going to understand
mhm,
the real kind of occultocracy that's going on, and the shadow government and the
yeah,
shadow side of the world. But I
yeah,
think people that have really gone into their pain and done a lot of internal work, like shadow
mhm,
work, are
mhm.
then correspondingly going to be able to see the shadow side of the psyche, because it's like the microcosm of the macrocosm. What's going on in the world is going on in us, and what's going on in the universe, and so on, exponentially cascading outwards. So if you've done that work on yourself on an individual level, you'll be able to understand more what's going on the collective level. Do you see it the same way?
100%. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I think you see like a lot of people who just completely neglect the shadow work side of things as well. And,
Mm,
you know, everything will just be love and light, but everything isn't all love and
mm,
light. You know, it's not all love and light in the spirit
mm,
world, and it's certainly not all love and light in this world either. And it is important for these things to be talked about, you know, the things you talk about in your channel, the things I talk about on mine, because otherwise, how
mm,
are these things going to be exposed? You know, the darkness is coming up to the surface right now, and that's
mm,
what's needed. It's needed to come up to the surface so that it can be exposed, but by just ignoring and turning a blind eye to things, they're never going to change and they're never going to go away. That I think you're right 100%. If you've done the shadow work, you're able to handle looking into these things a lot more. When you've stared in the face of darkness, then it nothing scares you in that sense, so you're able to
yeah.
just look into it a lot more. But yeah, these things
You-
need to be talked about 100%.
Yeah, you recognize it more, don't you? You get that discernment because you've seen the kind of the pain within yourself. You see it outside of yourself as well, and that shadow
Yeah.
side. Yeah, I totally see that. And you're right. It's like a pus that's coming up to the surface on the planet. Like all the evil. Like we've seen this in the last 4 years. 2020 was the year of, I think, 2020 vision, where
Mhm.
those that were kind of like attuned could see all that evil was now showing itself. It wasn't behind the curtain anymore. It was showing itself. We're like,
Yep.
ah, that's where it's all coming from. You
Mhm.
guys, you know, like,
Yep.
and it's like, okay, that is there now, and it's visible, and it's up to us to then purge that. We have to purge it
Mhm.
in a way that we clear that pus, you know. And I think we
Yep.
clear that by we shift our attention away from it. This is what I think anyway, and we start to create something new. And as we
Mhm.
create something new, this becomes obsolete. So we have to sort of completely take our attention, our intention and attention away from that, and then build these new paradigms. I think now homeschooling, for our own farming, bring the food back to the
Definitely.
people,
Yep.
you know, like in-source everything now. And I think that's how I think that's going to be the way that we purge it, is that
Yep.
if we keep fixating on that, what we resist persists. I think the way that we collapse it down is to shift it onto a new paradigm, and, you know, forget, you know, in-source even your news now, like take it all, like be your own detective, don't watch the TV, throw the TV
Oh,
out the window kind of thing.
yep.
So I think
Definitely.
that's, for me, that is the new path, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is, because there's the way that I see things. There's been two timelines playing out. One is the
Yeah.
timeline that they say, we'll just say the elites, right? What they want
Mm.
us on, and that's the timeline of complete chaos and destruction and everything like that. That's where they want us to be. So they keep putting out things, you know, to put fear into us, to keep us into like a low level
Mhm.
vibration. They keep putting distractions out there, division tactics, all of these things to try and steer people and, you know, over onto that timeline. But the other timeline is the one where it's just, we're all just leaning towards now, and that's the exactly what you're talking about. And that's where we all will end up. Like
Mm.
I always say, that the light will absolutely prevail 100%. This is like the way things are right now as well. I keep getting messages through clients and regression sessions as well, and they're all saying the same thing. Like the whole universe is watching us so intently right now with where we're at, and they're so
Mm.
happy with where we're at too. So even, you know, in the
Really?
physical, things might still seem quite chaotic, but the chaos is needed as well, because each time these chaotic things
Mm.
happen, it's causing more and more souls to awaken. And if we're all linked consciously, then the more that we rise, the more that we all collectively rise as well. So definitely, you don't want to be feeding into the division, you know, the distractions, politics, all of these things that are out there.
Mm.
They're just designed to keep us stuck in the level that they want us to be, but that's not happening. There's too many people rising now, and you can really see it.
Yeah.
Like 2020 was the start of so many people
Yeah.
just starting to rise, and even like this year there's another mass awakening that we're in just now, and that's with all the kind of conflicts with Israel and Palestine and everything like that. That's what happened, and the
Mm.
horrors that people were seeing from that was really, that caused a whole load of new younger generation to awaken as well. So with the chaos, it comes like
Yeah.
with a whole mass of people awakening as well.
Yeah. I've noticed that. It's that as those control measures come in and the tragedy comes in, like the big psyops happen, the global psyops, it does have a sharpening effect on the consciousness. Like 9/11 was a big one. You know, it's a tragedy, but it did wake up so millions, right? And then
Yeah.
like 2020 happened. And then even now, when I have conversations with my pub mates who laughed at me 4 years ago, they were like going, "You were right," you know. And all that stuff with P Diddy has come out on the Epstein Island. And John, you were saying this like 4 years ago, and they wouldn't say
Mhm.
sorry. They never would. But you know,
No.
like it's nice to. I call them the moderates, the people that aren't completely BBC-ified, you know, like they're just
Yeah.
normal people, but they're not interested in looking into it. They just enjoying their life, which is fine. But they're open-minded, and I think they're the
Yeah.
ones that's the next lot that are going to join us. I think when they go, shit, it's so
Yeah.
obvious now what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Where I think you'll get people that will never join us as well, and they've probably not chosen to either, you know, and that's the thing. I
Mm,
think a lot of people are still, there's people who'll just remain kind of locked into that. But you can,
mm,
there's going to, from what I've seen, there's going to be another mass awakening this year towards the end of the year as well, which again will just cause another
mm,
massive shift. And you can feel it energetically right now. Like
yeah.
it feels, the anticipation and things is, it feels like, it kind of feels like something big is coming all the time. I don't know if you feel like that.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I can kind of feel it in myself, certain things. I can feel like sometimes the ultimate like pain and tragedy, and then suddenly like I'll feel like this cosmic infinite
Mhm.
feeling as well. Like there's a
Mhm.
tug of war, like a kind of a that's maybe the energy bridge, that's the tension point between the evil and the new, you know, kind of, it's like the you know, just before a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, there's a larval stage where there's a tension. You know, there's almost like we're in that tension stage before the next big opening
Yeah.
of something.
I like that
I feel that.
analogy. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Mm,
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it feels like. But yeah, I think you're right. What you were saying about COVID and, you know, September 11th as well being a mass awakening event, and with September 11th as well, there was a mass meditation that was organised after that. And I always talk about, you know, light counteracting the dark energy. What happened with the
mm,
Olympics as well. Last week, you know, the opening ceremony with the Olympics, it was really dark. And then you ended up getting thousands of people gathering to pray. Like, that's light counteracting the dark right there. And then with September 11th, there was a massive meditation that was organized, and it was so big that it caused, like, it was like the Schumann resonance to go through the roof at the time, and it shifted something. I can't remember what it was specifically, but it made like a massive difference. Again, that's just an example of the light counteracting the dark. So for all the darkness that is in the world right now, the light is, there's even more light, you know, there is. And I always say humanity is good. Like, humanity is good. People care about each other and things like that. It's just, you know, it's they want us all divided, and they want us all fighting amongst each other, right? But unity is something I think that's just so important right now, is just to stay unified with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I feel that. And I'm optimistic. I'm definitely hopeful for what's to come. I think it will get more dystopian, but I think you have to see it as like you say, the momentary darkness that's coming in just to kind of like awaken us a little bit more. That's how I'm going to see it anyway. When it all comes in, no matter how dystopian it gets, I think let's see the bigger picture. Think how many people are going to wake up from this when they're moving people into, you know, these maybe lockdown camps at some, who knows how dystopian it's going to get, but you know, that could happen. And I think when people get in there and they think, oh, but this is for our good, we're going to go into a lockdown, you know, prisoner of war camp, it's going to be good, it's going to save grandma. There might be like penny drops, and they go, oh, actually, I just realized I've been led to the slaughterhouse. You know, it might wake up a few people, hopefully not too late. But anyway, Ash, I wanted to yeah, your stuff on your channel is absolutely brilliant. It's so good. If anyone's interested, just tell them now your TikTok channel. I'll quickly put it as a banner as well. The name of it.
It's Ash Supernatural Sagas, but my username is Ash Tyler 222. That's my username.
Let me put that in. I'm going to put that in for everyone, and then
that's my only social media. Because actually I never liked social media. Like, honestly, I was just I was just really given a push to go on TikTok. But before that, the thought of putting myself out there on social media was terrifying, quite honestly. But I just kept getting pushed into doing it. I was like, all right, okay, then here we go. And you know what? I'm glad I did, because I've met so many amazing people from there as well. And it can be so much less lonely, because in my actual reality, like, there's no one really, you know, all my family and everything, they're not, you know, they're still kind of asleep, I guess, in that sense. So it's nice to just have people worldwide to connect with, and it makes you just not feel so alone on this path.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I got up to like 50,000 followers on there, and then they deleted my account overnight. They didn't even give me like a warning. They just like, bang, it just went. So that was upsetting. So I didn't go on TikTok again for a few months after that.
That's frustrating. I got my last account banned. I think I was about 10,000 at that point, and I got that banned for sharing a video about Bill Gates. Instant ban, no warning, nothing. That was kind of during COVID times, and I had an account warning and everything like that on TikTok as well. But they're quite like, I appeal everything, and I'll like harass them as well through the problem parts of like harassing them through that. So I got a strike recently for a video I shared about the royal family as well. I got a strike for that. So one more strike, there'll be another account warning. It's just frustrating, but you know what? You know you're doing something right.
You're right over the mark. Yeah, you're right over the mark when that happens. That's what I always say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, everyone, I don't know why, but on my YouTube, I look like I'm filming it on a toaster. I've got no idea why. Does it look all right? Does the video look all right to you? Because on mine, it's on here. It looks fine. I just checked on YouTube, and it looks like it's shot. It looks like it's shot with a potato.
That's so funny.
Anyway, maybe let me know in the chats. Tell me if my video looks really pixelated. I have no idea why that is, because I'm right by the Wi-Fi here. Hi Amanda. Hi Charlotte. Hi Nats. Chris. How you doing, Chris Harris? WH Cypher. Angela Robertson, Lucy Hargreaves, Angela Robertson. How you all doing? Brainstorm. Ash, this is the interesting that I wanted to ask you about, is that you do remote viewings and you do these like psychic readings, right? So how does that work? Can we try one? Can we you know, so what if we were just to say Maddie McCann? Would you be able to do a remote viewing of what happened to her?
I would do Maddie McCann, but I'd probably prefer to do one that I've not already done, because I've already done Maddie McCann, so I'd probably quite like
Have
to do
you?
one that I've not done before.
All right.
Who's,
There's a
who's
girl. There's a missing girl in America called Summer Wells. My last guest was telling me about.
or what about John Benet Ramsey?
Who's that?
Do you know that was the really, oh gosh, that's a really well known one. And she was a
Yeah.
wee beauty queen child,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
she was found in our basement. She was reported missing, and there was this ransom note from the
Oh,
mum.
right.
So the ransom note that they
Yeah.
were pretty sure the mum wrote, sorry, and it was like 4 pages long or something. This ransom note, it was bizarre. Or we could even ask for suggestions.
Yeah. If you want to put in the chat any kind of ideas for remote viewings,
I can do
we
locations
can.
as well. Like I can remote view locations. The only location
Yeah.
actually I cannot view, and I'm not permitted to view, is Antarctica. So I am not permitted, and
Yeah.
so the reason why it will be because so your energy leaves a trace, right? So your energy can be
Yeah.
traced back to you. So
Yeah.
when you're remote viewing, you need to be really careful, and you need to use like cloaking
Mm.
techniques, things like that. And one
Oh,
time
wow.
I didn't, right, when I was just starting to do it, I wasn't careful, and I went to a really dark
Mm.
place, and I was followed home by it was a really kind of dark demon spirit that followed me home, and it like harassed me for about 2 months. I couldn't get rid of it. So Antarctica, the reason that I can't view Antarctica, it means that it's too dangerous to view there. Whatever they've got there can see through my
Mm.
energy cloaks, and I'll be bound to be like followed home and everything. So it makes me more curious
Oh.
about what's there though. Like, you know, I'm like, I
I
really
know
want
it
to
makes you want to go there, doesn't it? Because it's like the
know.
forbidden fruit or something. You need to know.
That is,
But I've seen
that's
you do. You've done one on like the royal family and
yeah,
Windsor Castle and underneath and stuff, haven't you? I mean that
yeah,
must have been a little bit difficult, no?
yeah. The worst ones I've done, actually that wasn't one of the worst, shockingly, like that I've seen.
No.
The worst ones that I've seen that I genuinely couldn't really sleep at night after seeing it was Scientology in Los Angeles. When I did that,
Really?
I seen that they had like a full baby farm underground
Mm,
there. I know,
mm,
and I
mm.
was seeing that they were involved in like, can you say the full words on here, by the way, or does it get censored? Because
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
used to being,
just if you can, yeah, I mean, if you can, just try and like if you want to say COVID, say convid or something, you know, clownvid or
okay,
something, you know what I mean?
so
Like just
yeah,
more words, maybe a little bit, yeah.
yeah. So
Um,
travixing, we'll say travixing. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
travixing. I seen that they were
yeah.
involved in that, and they were involved in like hybrid breeding and things like that under the
Mm, right.
Scientology. So like underground, it was horrible to see, and it was just the visions and everything. I was seeing pregnant women like stuck there as well, and it was really bad. The Vatican is awful as well. The Vatican was just,
Yeah.
I've I've done 2 parts in that before, and I've still not viewed at all because it was just, that was really dark. Um, where was the other one that I done as well that was really um, oh, what was that? Um,
Epstein Island.
oh, that was horrible as well. So that
Mm,
was really
mm.
interesting, that one actually, because
Yeah,
I'd heard people say that he was still alive, but I didn't really, there's so much information out there that I was open to anything. But as soon as I
yeah.
connected to the energy of Epstein Island, straight away I seen him, picked up in his energy, and I picked up that he was
Mm,
living in an underground bunker there. And it was very clear when I was remote, because it's visually that I see it as well, and I'll get kind of
yeah.
thoughts through as well. But it's like, it is like I'm walking through it. Is like that's the way that I see it. Everyone's
Ooh,
different remote viewing, but for
really?
me it's very visual. Like I'm literally there and walking through it. And I
Mm,
went through into the entrance into the underground part of Epstein Island, and there was just room after room after room. And what I'd seen, I described as being like, remember the film Taken? and it was the women down in the
Yeah.
underground, and they were like being brought out on stage and auctioned. That's like what I'd seen at Epstein Island. So they're still running a full underground operation there. And I've seen like a certain agency beginning with M, ends in D, were
Yeah. Yeah.
involved in that as well.
No
He was working
surprise.
for
Yeah.
them. Yeah, he was working for
Yeah.
them. I actually didn't know that
Mm.
before I'd been interviewed, because I don't tend to go down rabbit holes. Like, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
glad I don't now, because it can, if you've got all of these beliefs about things, it can get in the way of what you're seeing. So when I go into
Yeah.
things, I'm always like completely open to what I'll see. But yeah, Epstein's still very much alive and
That's it.
kicking and running that operation from underground. There was also like something under the sea as well there, and that's one place
Yeah.
sometimes I can't view either, is under the sea. Like there's a lot of
Mm.
portals and everything under the sea, and there was something pretty hefty under the sea at Epstein Island as well. So I never quite found out exactly what that was, but whatever it was is
Wow.
something very, very dark that's under there. Where else? I've briefly looked at Richard Branson's island as well, very briefly though.
Oh,
I've not
right.
properly looked at that one.
Yeah.
That was the one that was really dark. There's one that I'm forgetting that was like really bad. What was that? It's went out my head. No. Yeah, it'll
Oh,
come to me, but there's one
so
that,
many, isn't there? There's so many it could be. I was gonna say, could I ask that you do one on the moon?
yes,
Like,
I
what
will
is
do
it?
one on the moon.
I
Yes,
would
I
love to
will.
know what the moon really is, because I've got so
Yeah,
many different theories. Like, I'm not even convinced it's a rock. I think it could be a reflection or something, you know, like who knows?
yeah.
What do you think? Do you wanna
Well, I've peeked at it before, so I've not done a full viewing.
Yeah.
And but I'll go in and I'll view the full thing, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
everything that I viewed like
Right.
one side of it, and it was pretty
Yeah.
dark. What I seen up there, so I'll go in and I'll
Really?
explain everything that I'm seeing.
Mm.
But do you know a very strange thing as well is I can't view, like if I've asked to view other planets, I can't view them.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why,
Really?
and that's like, I'm like, so that makes me think that we do not know the truth about
Yeah.
other planets and everything. Like, I'm very
Yeah.
skeptical now, as if d to the fact that do they even leave this planet? You know, because I genuinely can't
Mm.
do anything, and that makes me
Yeah.
suspicious as to why.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We'll
Yeah.
look at we'll do the moon.
Yeah.
I just need to get myself ready.
Mm.
Okay, so I'll just describe what I'm seeing as I'm seeing it then.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm looking over one side of it just now. So it's a base, and it's reptilian energy
Mm.
here. So there's technology here, and it's okay, so it's technology that's been used for energy harvesting.
Mm.
It's the technology that I can see. It's like there's a massive amount of reptilians on the moon. So there's loads of technology that's like basically, like, I would describe it as being like massive beams that are just like zapping up energy from the earth plane.
Mm.
So the moon is, so in that sense, that means the moon's being used for energy harvesting, but there might be another side to it as well. This is just one side that I'm looking at just now. So let's see what the surface. It's not it's not like a planet. It looks very different to. If anyone's got questions, ask me questions in the chat as well, and I can get some answers.
Is it a ball though? Is it a ball?
Let me look. No, it doesn't look like a ball to me.
Does it have a shape?
It's like rather than it being like round, it looks more, I guess, like flat, like as if
Like
there's
a
a flat.
contact lens.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like a
That's
contact
exactly.
lens you put in. Yeah,
Yep.
I've often
That's
thought that when I've
exactly
looked at it. I thought this does not look like a ball. It looks like a contact lens, like that sort of
Yep.
shape, you know, and there's nothing
That's
round
exactly
behind it.
that's a really good way of describing it. Actually, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it looks like. So it's different from what we've been told anyway. So this is what I've seen. I did see this when I looked the last time, but I literally just quickly peeked the last time. I didn't kind of go around the full thing. So let me just see what else I can see here. So I'm going to just look to see if anybody ever has landed on the moon as well. So I'm getting a no for that.
Surprise, surprise.
So this is where I don't feel like we can leave here. Like, I don't feel
No,
like
I don't either.
NASA and everything, I don't, we know that NASA tells lies, but I think the lies are,
Big. The lies are so big and they distorted our way of thinking, haven't they? Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to see if there's a light side to it, because a lot of people ask me about, like moon magic and everything like that. So from what I can see here, honestly, the moon's pretty dark from what I can see here. So I believe, like, if you're doing something at home and it's working for you, then keep doing it by all means. You have to trust yourself first and foremost. But from what I can see here with the harvesting of energy, there's a lot of people that do like moon magic and things like that. So to me, if they're harvesting energy, that would be ways that they could do that potentially. I used to do like new moon work and things like that. And when after I viewed this, I completely stopped doing anything like that because I didn't trust it anymore. But ultimately you have to trust yourself. And if something's working for you, then by all means keep doing it. But there's something really not right with what's going on at the moon. They're telling me as well, it's like, wait, so just get more clarification on this. So what I'm getting through is part of like a dark consciousness matrix is what they're telling me. So okay, so there's also like so I've seen there's something called the beast machine, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. I believe you heard of it. I
In
believe that
Brussels, isn't it?
it's what, sorry?
I was told it might be in Brussels, the beast
It's
machine.
under the Vatican, I believe, is where I seen it.
Yeah.
Just
Right,
maybe
yeah.
there's something else in Brussels as well, though. Like by all means. But when I looked into the Vatican, I seen this like really this kind of machinery that I'd never ever seen before, and it was very difficult to explain what I was seeing. And it was like this big machine, and you could sit in it and it would possess people, right? It was so bizarre, and it
Mm,
was hooked up to the energies of people as well. So energies of people who are, like carrying a lot of dark energy and things like that, and it was fueling them is the best way I can describe it. And what they're showing me now is the moon is linked to that in some way. So they're showing me it's like
mm,
fueling this beast machine, and it's as if this beast machine is like fueling out dark energy into the world, and into people who are consumed by dark energy. It's like they're hooked up to this beast machine is the best way that I can describe it. But I
mm,
believe there was someone who goes into a lot more detail about quantum mechanics. I am not good with that side of things. Technology is just not my strong point at all. So I struggle to explain what I'm seeing a lot
mm,
of the time when it comes to technology. But I believe there's someone, Ashayana Dean, who she was very she's very knowledgeable on quantum mechanics, and she goes into a lot more detail about the beast machine and what it does. But that's how I can understand it in my simpler terms, is like what it does.
mm.
They're telling me that the moon
Yeah,
is in some way linked to that. So yeah.
I I've also heard theories that you have the emissions from Saturn, and the moon acts like a kind of a satellite. It bounces off the moon and then it projects it, focuses it more onto Earth. So you have the frequencies of Saturn where we get Satan from, and then it bounces off the moon and then it comes down. Ike's
Oh.
talked about that. A few others have talked about that. And also a guy called Howdy something. He talks about the moon being like a soul harvesting
Yes.
trap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well
yeah.
that's exactly what I'm seeing. Soul
And,
harvesting trap.
and he says,
That's spot
it's,
on.
and it's somehow connected to when you die. The moon's involved somehow, and it makes you go into the light, and then you forget your lifetime, and then you go back into the white light and come reincarnate again. That's Howdy's theory on that.
Yeah, that's
But yeah.
so with
Mm,
that, there's so much truth in that theory, like the soul trap theory. And
mm,
honestly, see if you'd said this to me 4 years ago, I would not have believed you. I was a
yeah,
massive denier of that theory until I
yeah.
started remote viewing and seeing things for myself. Lucky
Mm,
I've always kept my beliefs open, so I'm
mm,
open to being wrong about things. And there's so much truth to that theory. That there's a massive amount of souls who have been stuck on a reincarnation loop, right? And that is what happens to them.
mm,
But those people, they need to have dark soul contracts as well in place. So when there's dark soul contracts in place, then the dark side have a lot of control over these people. So that'll be like, it's a lot more than just your celebrities and stuff like that, though there is quite a large amount of souls that
mm,
have been stuck on this loop, just reincarnating all the time. But there's also a massive amount of souls, which will be like you, John, you guys watching as well,
mm,
who have volunteered to come down here at this time, so that doesn't apply to them either. So the
mm,
thing is, well, there's that's like a false light and a false kind of matrix that people will go towards, but there's also the true light that you can go towards as well. And so many people worry about, like, when I pass, what will I do? Honestly, just as long as you've not got dark soul contracts, which none of you will have on here, you'll be absolutely fine. But
mm,
there's a lot of truth to that theory, definitely. And that's what I can see from the
mm.
moon as well. It's like it's connected to this beast machine. So then in turn as well, when I'd seen the beast machine, that was about reincarnation and possessing people and everything as well. So it's all linked. So that makes perfect sense, that theory.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you think is it like a physical thing, the moon, or is it kind of illuminary? Is it kind of plasma? Is it translucent? Is it, and do people actually live on it? Like they're in like or inside it or
Mm. Yeah, so there is an inside it as well. And it is like there's a lot of reptilians that kind of stay there, but I'm being shown
Mm.
they kind of travel back and forth as well. Um, what else did you ask? Sorry, is it
Is it
what
like a
kind
physical is it a physical thing, the moon? Is it like, like the terraformer? Is it like physical, like you could stand on it kind of thing?
of? Okay. You can they can stand on it, but let me see if
Mm,
because this is strange. The
mm,
So what when I'm looking to see is it physical and I'm getting a no,
Yeah.
but then
Mm.
seeing also at the same time seeing people standing on it. So how does that work? Okay. Okay, so right, okay. Right, okay. So they're saying it's like so they're saying that this is really they're saying like nothing's really physical, but it's how we kind of perceive things and
Mm.
see things that it can then become physical. So for example, like if you were to fully believe that, I know that sounds crazy, but if you were to fully
Mm.
believe you could walk through a wall, you could walk through a wall because everything's constantly moving and shifting,
Yeah.
like vibrationally. So they're kind of showing me that, and they're saying, so yes, they can stand on it because it's the same kind of theory in that sense. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
bad.
quantum mechanics. It's quantum mechanics. If you look at the double slit experiment, it explains that as well. In the double slit experiment, that
Yeah.
when they fired particles through two slits, it created a, not sure which one, like two lines, on the wall behind. And then when they put a camera on it, it created a wave form. So it's like saying the power of consciousness interacts with the atoms to then create your reality from. So it's the physical makeup of our reality is dependent on our consciousness animating it and bringing it into being, I think. So that's kind of
Yes,
what you're saying, I think.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. Thank you for that. That was a much better explanation.
I
I
thought that
on
as well. I thought that as well. I think that as well. I've thought that anyway about the moon. And I've also heard people say, tell me what you think of this. People have said, the moon is not the same to you as it is to me. We're never looking at the same moon. And I always thought, what do you mean by that? But
yeah,
I think what they're saying is there's a subjective element that projects because everything happens within ourselves. Like our realities are actually created within our own
mhm,
bodies, if you like, our own
mhm,
brains. So
mhm.
there is something about that. There's a truth to that as well, that we're not completely in the same reality as everyone else. And that might be a bit, I don't know, hard to
No,
describe, but
that's
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah, you're describing it very, very well. Yeah, that's
Mm,
exactly what I'm seeing. I'm just looking at some of the comments as well.
mm,
A
mm,
gut feeling agrees. Yeah. Soul catcher, definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
seeing as well. Didn't they just discover a cave or tunnel on the moon? Well, that's there's definitely like it looks like an underground kind of part on the moon as well.
Mm.
So yeah. So very
Yeah, that's
interesting.
fascinating.
I didn't mean
Mm,
to do that. Oh, don't know how to I put that up there. I don't know how to do that.
yeah.
So I'm just going
What?
to check if there's a
Yeah,
light side to
mm,
it. Because I've not
yeah.
checked that before. So I'm
Mm,
going to see if there is some light to it because so many people experience like when I've spoke about what I've briefly seen before in the moon, a lot of people will be like, but how, does women's cycles go along with the moon and how
mm,
do a lot of people get
yeah.
such like amazing experiences from moon magic and things like that. So I'm just going to see if there is a light side to it.
Mm,
Okay. So what I'm being shown is there used to be a light side to it, but it's been taken over, is what I can see,
right.
right? So it's been taken over. So as it
Mm,
stands right now, there's not a light side to it. So it's been completely kind of taken over, sadly.
mm.
And if you think about how people go crazy on a full moon, right? Like my baby, I've got an 18-month-old and she goes wild on a full moon, like proper wild.
Really?
That and then that would explain that if they're, putting out quite a lot of energy during that time as well, and then harvesting energy back, it explains why we're all, go a bit loopy during a full moon.
I actually, on a full moon, I'm at my best. I don't know why, but I just noticed, like when I'm at my best, I look, oh, it's a full moon again. Oh yeah, it's a full moon again. I don't know, it's just me,
Yeah.
but I tend to feel at my most energetic when there's a full moon. Maybe I'm a
Yeah.
maybe I'm a werewolf or something. I don't know. But is there a dark? Yeah, don't clip that up, people. It's just a joke, all right? By the way, is there? They talk about the dark side of the moon. Then, like, what are they referring to? Is there a dark side of the moon? Like, what's behind what we see?
So from my understanding, then what that would be, the dark side of the moon, it probably was at one point split, and there was light and dark on the moon, and
Right.
maybe it was
Yeah.
kind of coexisting quite well at that time, but now it's like it's kind of all dark right now. There has been a lot of fallen souls, we'll just say, as well.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of put out there, though, the light will prevail. So even though we're talking about this, it doesn't mean things are bad or hopeless in any way. It's just, so from what I can see, it's not just a dark side now, but I can see where that's came from. At one point, it's been split, and then that's why they used to call it the dark side. But from what I can see just now, it's all been kind of taken over just now.
Yeah. Oh, good to know. Hopeful message for the future. All right, because I know we've got 10 more minutes. If anyone wants to add in any questions, I'll pick out the best ones. Yeah, we talked. Eddie said that we kind of touched on that earlier. They control the frequencies from the moon, bad sound frequencies and such. Yeah, we kind of maybe touched on that earlier. All right, I'm going to ask you one. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but it is connected.
Yep.
What are we living on?
Okay, so are you talking about, like, so I don't feel that it's either flat, like you're talking about Earth, is it flat or is it
Yeah.
yeah. So I believe that I do believe that there's a firmament, right? So from what I've seen, I remember remote viewing. I actually remote viewed, it was Atlantis that I remote viewed, and to see what happened back Atlantis and how it fell. And I seen them messing with technology that like shattered. It was like it shattered the ceiling, is what I'd called it, and that was the first time I'd ever seen that. So that then kind of led me down to, okay, there's this type of firmament here, but I don't believe that like flat Earth is is like the truth either. Neither are we spinning in a globe. I feel like it's something in between. So more possibly like I guess a sphere kind of shape. With, I don't believe that we can leave here, so I don't believe that we can get rockets and everything going out of here. I believe that like the moon, the stars and everything is within the firmament. And I also believe there's land by Antarctica. I've seen land by Antarctica as well. I seen, when I was remote viewing the Vatican, I seen that they had maps within the Vatican and books about land beyond Antarctica and the Vatican. So I believe it's dimensions as well that we live in. So it's, it's all different kind of dimensions, and realms as well. Dimensions, realms is what I feel. So that's just from best of my knowledge, best of my understanding. That's what I've seen.
Because Ash, I came up with a theory, right? I was working this out because I have looked into the flat Earth stuff and also simulation theory, inner Earth, everything, right? Hollow Earth kind of thing. And I came up with this visual that we live on. By the way, guys, it's just a thought experiment, right? I'm imagining that everything's reset back to factory settings and we're just having to think about it all from the start. But like we're living on like an eyeball, if you like, and the front of if you can imagine, like the North Pole is like the pupil, and then coming out from that is the iris, which is like the land, and then it's sort of flat, right? And then, but it's actually like a kind of, you've got a torus field maybe, or a firmament, which is like the coating of the eyeball, the actual eyeball itself. It's almost like, that's how I visualize it, almost like an eyeball. You know? But it's kind of that thing, isn't it? Like,
That's how I see it as well. That's exactly what I've seen it. That shape, everything as well. You're right with the eye and how it can't break through. And then you have like Mr. Musk, sending rockets up there and everything. It's just bizarre. You can kind of see let's not even talk about it.
No, I know. I'm starting to. I start to doubt that there is outer space. I know that sounds really far out for a lot of people, but
It doesn't sound far out to me, because that's what I was meaning when I was saying to you, like at the start of this call, I was like, I can't view any of these planets. Like,
No.
why can't I
No.
view them?
No.
If they're all there, why can I not view them?
Yeah.
So there's no reason why I can't view them. There's nothing, and I've
Yeah.
asked, like, is there anything there that's, is it like Antarctica? And I'm getting a solid no. So I agree with you on that. I'm very suspicious about that
Yeah.
too. There's something just not quite right with all of that. Like, I just don't believe that.
Yeah.
That there's planets and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen how much they lied. I mean, nearly everything they tell us, it's the complete 180 of what it actually is. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've seen that in the last 4 years. They managed to hoodwink people, and the virus. For me, the virus never the V never existed in the first place. You know, that's what the mad thing. But they still got everyone to do the poison. And it's just like, if they can do that, then what's to stop them lying about other stuff, you know?
Exactly. They lie about everything. And, people, if you even spoke about this to people, they would think you were absolutely crazy if you were to even question the fact that space out there. And even the astronauts, the videos you see of the astronauts, you're looking at them and going, really? Like, right? It's like they're swinging about, and I'm just not buying it anymore. And under the sea as well, under the sea, I believe, is like portals to different kind of alien civilizations and things like that. There's a lot under the sea that we don't. There's a lot of very dark stuff under the sea, a lot of light stuff as well. There's a lot of light portals under the sea too. The sea is very healing, and that was a piece of advice that I got through. It was the Arcturian elders had came through one of my clients in a regression session, and that was one of the things they said was get in water like all the time right now, because they also said that they've blocked the sun just now as well. So they said there's like a shield over the sun just now. So they were saying that we're not getting the full power of the sun. So they were telling everyone to go in water and just spend a lot of time in water, even if it's your shower, and just imagine the shower kind of clearing all your energy and everything like that. So they're definitely doing. And it was funny when I'd remote viewed the Atlantean times, I'd seen them messing with a lot of the same stuff back then as well, because they do have really the advanced technology that I've seen as well. Like, my goodness, it's mind-blowing, the technology they've got that they keep hiding from us. So that's it. If they hide all that from us, what else are they hiding? But I definitely believe in hollow earth, inner earth as well, like 100%. I've remote viewed things like that and seen that. So I'm with you on everything that you're saying.
Yeah. I'm still working it out. All I'm doing is I'm thinking again. I'm not going to listen to what they're telling me. I'm just going to, okay, we're back to zero again. What are the different ideas about this? That's kind of how I want to do it at the moment. But Ash, because we're coming to the end now, thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours.
I know.
I might book a session with you. I'm interested in, like,
past life regression. Yours would be amazing.
I'd love to do something like that with you. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a past life regression with someone called Laura. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do one with someone called Laura Whitworth, who's become like a good friend of mine. She's gonna do it with me. But I think I'm gonna book you in for some stuff, because I think you're brilliant. Really, really good.
Thank you. That's really nice. I'd love to come back on.
Yeah, I would love to have you back on as well. And there's so much to talk about. We just talked about the moon there. Like, we could talk about, I was thinking Stonehenge, the Bermuda Triangle, chemtrails. Oh, that's going to get the video deleted.
Oh no! What's there's so much. The Bermuda Triangle was really. I've viewed that one actually. That's really interesting. What I'd seen down there. So there's loads that we could. There's loads we could do for sure.
Isn't there? Yeah.
What was that? It's actually going to annoy me now. Like, there was one that I'd done that it was just so dark, and it's just cannot for the life of me think. And I was shocked to get the White House. That was it. The White House.
Oh, right. I mentioned that earlier. Yeah. Right.
I done that live on TikTok. Like, just doing live remote viewing on TikTok, and someone just asked me to do the White House, and I did not expect to see what I seen underneath the White House. That was actually worse than Windsor Castle.
Epstein.
Yeah.
Oh, and worse than Epstein Island as well, probably.
It actually was. Yeah. the energy that I
Mm,
felt under there,
mm.
it actually was, which that did. I mean, I didn't expect it to be good energy, but I was thrown away by, you know, the things that I'd seen as well. Denver Airport, by the
Mm.
way, not Denver Airport would be a good one as well. I keep meaning to look into that. That's apparently
Really, Denver?
home of, it's apparently a massive Illuminati base that's there. I've never viewed it,
Oh,
so I'm
right.
not sure. But it's got Freemasonry symbols all over the airport and loads
Mm,
of people reporting
mm.
really strange things happening. So yeah, Denver Airport would be quite an interesting one as well. There's a lot about that. So
Sure.
yeah, I would love to
Mm.
definitely love to come back on again. That was
Yeah, I'd love
fun.
to have you back on. Yeah, it's really fun to talk to you, and like we really connected on TikTok, and
Yeah,
yeah, there's like a
definitely.
mutual kind of respect for our work and stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, we're really trying to
100%.
like bring out we're really showing people like what's really going on, the dark stuff, the occult aspect
Yeah,
of
yeah,
reality, of society, of
yeah,
humanity,
yeah,
that darkness needs to be shown. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? But I think more people now are going, this probably does go on. It's Jimmy Savile, Epstein Island, Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, who else have we got? But, you know, P. Diddy, all the other,
yeah,
you know, nonsense.
yeah.
You know, you can't keep Prince Andrew,
Can,
the royals, you know, you can't
yeah,
run from this forever. Like, it's in
yeah,
your face. Like, how can you
yeah.
not see it now?
I know, I
Anyway,
know. And
um,
I'm not
mm,
okay with living in a world where, you know, trafficking is now the number one like illegal trade. I'm not okay with that at all. It's
yeah,
never going to be
yeah.
okay in my world. And who else is going to help these
Mm.
children? You know, it's just that'll be my
I
hill.
know, I
Honestly,
know.
children will be my hill because it's just yeah, and that's purposely why I've went in and remote viewed like a lot of these places because that's one thing that I always really want to kind of expose is the trafficking side of things because it just yeah
Mm.
it definitely that breaks my heart. All that stuff is awful to think of all
Yeah, I
that going
know.
on.
Yeah,
I
that's
work with
why
a
I
lot.
think. Mm,
Sorry, I work with a lot of
yeah,
MK Ultra survivors as
yeah,
well. I help people retrieve memories
mm,
through hypnosis and even the things that have happened to, you know, it's just not okay, right? It's just these things need to come up
mm,
to the surface to be exposed. And yeah, your work's amazing. Honestly, I've watched loads of your YouTubes and I just massively
mm,
appreciate everything that you put out there
mm,
and what you do. It's, you know, I commend that in someone. Anyone who does that's got my respect because it's not
mm,
easy. You know, you're
mm,
putting yourself in the firing
mm,
line essentially, but we have to. At the end
mm.
of the day, we have to.
Yeah.
That's partly
Well,
why
I
we're
just
here.
think. Well, I just think for me, especially, like there's nothing more important than protecting children and protecting children's lives. And people say,
Definitely.
"Well, how can you do this? Because, like, what if you put a target on your head?" I
Hmm.
honestly don't. I don't care if I die, like
Me
putting
neither.
this information out. Because what
Me
am I,
neither.
one person out of 8 billion? And if everyone just lives in fear and doesn't do anything, then we're not going to change. Like,
Exactly.
I think you have to live your life knowing that you could die at any moment, but you have to live
Yep.
your life with as
Yep.
much integrity as possible. And there's nothing
Yep.
more important than protecting children for
No.
me. That, like,
Nothing.
for me,
No.
children and, you know, children are
Yep.
like the number one thing. So yeah,
They are.
it has to
They
be
are.
talked about.
They are, and who else
Um,
help these children as well? I mean, you've not,
mm,
you know, all the agencies are involved in it. That's the sad thing about it. They're all involved in it and responsible for what's
yeah.
happening to them as well. So they need people stepping up and speaking up for them and being
Mm,
their voice, the voice that they don't have. And I'm the same. I get asked all the time on TikTok,
mm,
like, are you not scared? Like, if someone comes after you, and I'm genuinely have no fear whatsoever. I'm the same as you.
mm,
I would genuinely rather die than just live my life keeping
yeah,
silent about this stuff
yeah,
because
me too.
that's historically, if you look at how evil has happened in this world, it's not just the evil act itself, it's the people that have turned a blind eye and have allowed it to keep
Mm,
continuing. And that's what I always see as
yeah,
well. It's, you know, it's the more people who just turn up, because even when you mention trafficking to people, right, they're like, they just don't,
mm,
it's too dark. They don't want to know, or even satanic ritual obtuse, we'll say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
denial, the denial that
Yeah,
that's even a thing. Like people,
I know.
it's it's like complete and utter denial, right? That it's even a thing.
Mm,
And I had a client who had been through that. He'd brought up in the care system, and it was in Scotland,
mm,
and the priests were satanically abusing him his whole life. This honestly, what this poor man had been through was horrific.
mm,
And he took them to court, and it was in the news. It was on the news articles, and it was like priests accused of satanic ritual abuse, but the way they had worded it was as if it's just not a real thing. And it's like, why the denial that even happens? And it's a massive, massive thing. It really is. It's a
Yeah, of
massive
course
thing.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, John Wedger, they did a freedom of information request to every single police constabulary in the country, every county, and they said, "Can you give me a report of every reported incident of satanic ritual abuse?" And some there was had like some counties like Derby or something had like 30 or 40 incidents of satanic ritual abuse going on. London, one of the biggest, right? 0. It's like, come on, like pull the other one. So some were actually giving the information, and others were saying no, nothing's going on. But so yeah, you had all the different constabularies with all different reports of how many satanic ritual abuse incidents they were, and all throughout the country there was reports. Some constabularies they lied and said there was nothing, but so it clearly goes on. There's even therapists that only work with satanic ritual abuse victims. You know, this is not made up.
It's definitely not. There
Yeah.
was a high court case in Glasgow last year, and my uncle's a criminal defence lawyer, and I'd asked him about it, and it was they did get charged, and it was the satanic abuse, but they threw that out. They kept all the other charges and threw that one out, and I'm like, that's because they just don't want people to know that that's going on. But it was pretty major, and it was involved like a full ring of the children within Glasgow area as well. It's awful to think that these things happen. There's so many amazing people out there though exposing it, like that policeman you were talking about. There's a woman who runs something called Expose Scotland, and I follow her on TikTok, and she goes out handing out leaflets and speaking to people and helping victims and everything. I just think these people are incredible, you know, to be doing what they're doing. They're really putting their neck in the line and putting the word out there. So yeah, massive respect to these people for doing that, honestly. Definitely.
Yeah, we've all got to do our bit and, you know, step up a little bit and try and have some integrity, and in the face of, you know, don't worry what people say or call you, just do it. You know what's right. You know what's right from wrong. Just do it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know,
and that is what it is. It's right from wrong, isn't it? And I couldn't give a monkey's what anyone says about me now. I'm well past that stage. Like the things I say on you'll be the same with the things you say on here. It's just like whatever, you know, just I'm used to being called today, so it's all good.
And the thing is, a lot of it comes true, and they never turn around and say, "John, I'd just like to say you were right about that. I'm really sorry to call you a conspiracy theorist," because you actually spot on. They still think of you as a conspiracy theorist, even though they admit you were right. Like, it's just that they have to put you in that box. They have to give you that label to make themselves feel kind of, you know, more righteous than you, more in the right. So funny old world.
It's easier to fool people than to get people to admit they've been fooled, and that's true. You know, it's like people just don't want to admit that, and it's the ego side in people as well. That's what it is. You know, a lot of people are really stuck in the ego. Whereas, you know, we're sitting here talking, saying we're always learning, we're always growing, always open to being wrong, always reevaluating our beliefs. And that's just a healthy way to be, I think, in this world, just constantly, you know, reshaping the way you look at things. And so but you see a lot of people just become so stuck in their beliefs, and that your beliefs can cause, like, it's like a prison. It's like a prison that you're a self-imposed prison. Your belief can keep you in, and it just stops you from expanding and looking. So it's crazy world, but the light will prevail. The light will prevail, definitely, even though that wasn't so great with what we've seen at the moon. There's a massive amount of light beings coming into the world, and from what I've seen as well, there's a lot of the babies that are being born in right now, babies that are being born in next year. Oh my goodness, these are advanced souls that are coming into the world right now, and they carry that light. It's like they carry this special coding within their DNA, and that going down into the planetary grid below, it just shifts the energy as a whole. So there's so much light coming in just now. There really is. And I've seen as well I've seen it, clients have seen it through regression. It's like above kind of like our dimension, there's always this like massive chain of angels just pouring all this light down into the world as well. I've seen it so many times. So there's so much light coming down into the world right now. So the light will prevail.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. For everyone watching, thanks for watching this live stream. That's been
Yeah,
brilliant. Like
yeah.
I wanted to talk to you
I
for
know.
hours, but hopefully, hopefully we can get you on as a regular guest or something, you know, like that would be
Oh, I'd
brilliant.
love to. Yeah, I'd love to. It's really
Yeah,
fun to just come on and talk to you and everything. So 100%, I'd
yeah,
love to come on. So I'll drop you a message and we'll sort it out again
yeah.
soon.
Drop me a message.
I
And
will.
everyone, Ash Tyler 222 on TikTok. Please follow her, give her some love. And yeah, we'll end the stream there. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to Ash
Bye.
from myself, John Cooper. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.